My name's Doug Hodson, and I'm the luckiest guy in the room. Well, if I'm not the luckiest guy in the room, I'm probably in the top 5. I had a large sarcoma removed from my left buttock by the team 4 years ago, and they've been looking after me ever since. During that process, my sciatic nerve was terminated in my left buttock, so that could have had disastrous consequences. But as you can see, a combination of great skill and good fortune, and I've been really quite okay, and certainly a lot better than expected. I've been very happy to talk tonight because I want to tell you all about the group of people looked after me and did such a great job. I'd characterise them with a few words in particular. The first one would be teamwork, and the next one would be professionalism. I put care in there, and then believe it or not, there were a few lighter moments as well. Sarcomas are pretty scary things. Mine was huge. It wouldn't have been out of place with one of those 1 kilo steaks on the grill down at Hippo Creek. And I could tell it was a pretty scary thing by the speed of response of all of the medical folks that got involved in it. I tell you, if you want a quick CAT scan, the sarcoma is a good way to go about it. So I became aware from a very early stage that it was the team that was looking after me. Prof Wood said that my sarcoma would be up on a flat screen in front of a multi-skilled team on Wednesday. And I thought, so it's not just one guy, there's a whole load of them looking after me here. And then a subsequent visit, there was a chap from UK who was doing his fellowship as a surgeon, and there was something that they needed to work on. And he said, yeah, we need to work on this thing as the team. The sarcoma team is going to go to work on this. This guy hadn't been with them for very long, he'd come from UK, but the fact that they were a team was something that really meant something to him. Another thing that's amazing about them, these guys, is that anytime you talk to anybody else in the medical world, whether you're in hospital or you're imaging or you're just meeting people in the medical world, and you mention the names of the people who've been looking after you, they say, cool, that's it, you've got the best there is. You're really lucky. Those guys are great. So I said that one of the things they were, that I always remember them for is what great care they took. And there's a few things in particular that demonstrated that. First thing was the speed of the reaction right at the outset. The second thing was Prof Wood's look on Prof Wood's face when he could see how much movement there was in my leg. Tell you what, you would have thought he'd won lotto. But actually it was me that won lotto. A few others. The great care that Alex Powell took looking after me when I was struggling with chemo. The interest that David Joseph took with how the radiotherapy had gone after it had finished. I've been able to phone these folks on their own personal numbers, and I've been able to see them at short notice on a number of occasions. That said though, the sarcoma experience hasn't just been me. When I was starting chemo, there was a lady there, and she had a sarcoma, and she'd been in remission for 6 years, and it had come back, and she was at chemo, and we were starting chemo on the same day. And she was absolutely delighted to see me. The reason why she was delighted to see me was she said, I'd never met anybody else with a sarcoma. So we got to know each other pretty well, and we became really good mates. And I missed a session of chemo quite early on because I had an infection, and she came and saw me in the hospital. And then she had all sorts of complications and things, and I visited her a few times. And then once we finished chemo, we stayed in touch. And the one time I was down in Melbourne with my workmates, pretty good, eh? Back to work, Melbourne, Italian restaurant, workmates, only 2 months after. And I get a text from her. And the text says, I've just had a scan and my tumours have shrunk, I'm really wrapped. And I thought, oh, that's great, that's brilliant news. And a couple of months later, I got another text, and she said, I'm in Hollywood, and I've got a big tumour, and they're going to remove my spleen. And I went to see her, and she had some more treatment, and she made some progress, and then she had other challenges and had to have more treatment, and I saw quite a bit of her and visited her quite a number of times, various times, but she also had a few successes, and we got together with lunch to celebrate that she's going okay. And as the months went by, there was a period where I saw less of her, and I was struggling to get hold of her. I was texting her and there was no reply. And eventually I found a Facebook page for her. So I hit the Facebook page and said, how are you going? And I got a message back from my husband saying, she's doing it really tough. And the very next day I got another message, and he said, but I'll keep you informed. The very next day there was another message on the Facebook, and it said, she's flown with the angels. And that's how sarcoma is. That's the thing that we're talking about tonight. That said, there was another lady diagnosed with a sarcoma in her leg, and David said, this doesn't look that great. I think we might end up compromising your sciatic nerve when we remove this. There's a bloke you need to go and talk to. He'll tell you all about what that's all about. And she came to visit me, and I told her all about all the things you have to do and what you have to do in order to manage your life and what it's going to be like and all that stuff. And that was great, because at least she had somebody to talk to, and she felt quite good about that. And the other thing that was really interesting was her husband had prostate cancer, and he said one thing about this. He said, when I had prostate cancer, the doctor didn't give me anybody that I could go and talk to and get some comfort about what it's all about. He said, this is great. Anyway, the story got even better than that, because she continued with her treatment, and finally she had her surgery. And I got a call on a Saturday afternoon. She said, Doug, it's me. It's the old lady that came to visit you. I said, oh yeah, how are you doing? She said, I've just had my surgery. She said, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm wandering around the ward. And I said, oh, what happened to your leg? She said, nothing, it's fine. So, good work by the sarcoma team. She's out. Great work. As I say, it's not just you when you have a sarcoma, though. It's everybody. And this is a great opportunity to thank all of my friends, our friends, some of whom are here tonight. We chose the ones that we asked to come tonight because they were all there when I was having the treatment. And I've got to thank you guys. Thank you for being there and for helping. It's also a great opportunity to just publicly thank the beautiful companion that I spend this great adventure on the planet with, my beautiful wife Karen, and to thank our two boys and our two dogs, and they're all together in this, and you can see the same with Abby. The dogs are great when it comes to when you're struggling, and they've all helped me and loved me and supported me through all of this. That said, though, there were some lighter moments. The first one I can remember, when it was time to take the stitches out. I said, well, what do we do about this, David? He said, oh, well, Jane, Mrs. Wood, she'll do that. She's a nurse. He said, but make sure she's got her glasses on. Then the next one was, I was visiting Dr. Richard Carey Smith, and it was cricket season, and we'd finished talking about the medical stuff, so we got on to talking about cricket, and it was during the Ashes tour. We were having a good chat about how it was all going to go, and then Richard said, well, it looks like we're going to be fine, we're going to absolutely kill this one. And I thought, oh, hang on, he thinks I'm a Pom. I said, no, I don't support England. I know that's how I speak, but I don't support England. So he took great delight in standing up and leaning over his desk. And a big cheesy grin went from one ear to the other, and he put his hand out and he said, well, suck it up, princess. So thank you, Richard. See you at the next Ashes tour. So I've been really lucky. I've got great functionality. But one of the things that's clear about sarcomas is that they can have disastrous consequences. And I think that must be part of the reason, but maybe it isn't, that all the doctors you deal with are all just huge outdoor enthusiasts. They're always out there swimming or paddling their kayaks or riding their bikes, and the achievements from last weekend just attest to that. It's amazing. Well, I have fairly similar interest to all of that, and when the sarcoma first came along and I was told that it was likely to have my sciatic nerve terminated, I was pretty unhappy about that. And I was quite indulgent because a lot of people in the world are far worse off than me and people like me. But anyway, I didn't feel too happy about that. So, all that said, with the help of the imaging guy who identified the sarcoma and measured it, with the help of the radiation oncologist who killed it, with the help of the surgeons who removed it and managed to retain an awful lot of functionality, with the help of the medical oncologist who did the best job possible of making sure it doesn't come back, with the help of the exercise physiologist who helped me recover the strength in my leg, with the help of the orthotist who made all the fancy gadgets that makes my left leg work. Might give it a go on the dance floor, you can all have one. With the help of the lady that makes the compression stockings, which stops my leg from swelling up. And there'll be a few left out there. But with the help of all the people that support them as well, because there's an awful lot of them, I can now ride my bike, I can sail the catamaran, I can paddle my kayak, and I can ride my snowboard, the greatest joy of all. So that's great. I've been lucky in that regard. I've got good functionality, and what we talk about here is making sure that we understand these things, we catch them early, we don't have things that would look or wouldn't look out of place on the grill at Hippo Creek. We can avoid all that suffering that people and their families have to go through. So hopefully you have a few insights into what the world of sarcoma is about. You have a few insights into the team, how integrated they are, how professional their approach is, what great care they take. So you have a bit more understanding of how and why to sell the message, so we continue to raise support for this research and honour the memory of Abby with our efforts and successes. Thank you very much.